Good afternoon. Talking NCT Facebook page and live on Instagram on the Sling Consultancy. So today we are going to be looking at the two Izmi models that we have of the baby carriers. So we have the Izmi baby carrier and then we have the Toddler carrier. And just wanted to go over some things that are a bit different about them because it might be a bit confusing when do you need to use which one. So the standard one is used from newborn, and you have the inserts that goes in here that you can take out when your baby no longer needs this, approximately between 6 to 8 weeks. And then it's adjustable, so the width of this opens like this. We take this out and then we can adjust the width of our carrier, and that's the same that we can do the same with our toddler carrier. The main difference is the width of the carrier is going to be very, very different. So with this one, if I open the baby one up, or the standard, however you like to call it, if we open that one up all the way, that is your maximum width of that carrier. And then we go to the toddler, you can see it's a lot wider. It doesn't really even fit in frame. So it goes a lot wider, and it's also a lot higher on the top. So you can see from the height, this is the Breeze version. They also do the toddler, which it's a lot higher. So as your child is growing, and in order to support knee to knee, you're going to potentially need a wider and taller carrier as they're growing. So the main difference between the two carriers is actually the waistband. So on the standard carrier, it's not very structured, it's very flexible, and it's going to go on like this and then you clip it on. With the toddler carrier, we have a much more padded waistband. It's still very flexible, it's still not hugely padded, but that padding is just there because predominantly we're going to be back carrying older children, and so this is really designed with that in mind. So for that point, this is going to just provide that little bit more support for older ones. We've also got the darts in the seat as well, so it sort of helps create that shape when we're carrying them. And also they are made from the same fabric, so it's very, very lightweight, both the standard or the toddler. How they spread the shoulders is again very, very similar. The main difference with the toddler carrier is we also have this adjuster on the shoulder, so we can shorten the strap, which helps if you are back carrying and you need it to just be really, really snug on your shoulders around here, because again, traditionally for back carrying, you're not using as much of the strap. So the main difference is your waistband and just the size of the carrier. And just a note on toddler carriers is there's no real standardisation within the industry. So you will find toddler carriers will fit from sort of different ages. So you can see this one, it's got the much more padded waistband, and then you pull and then you tighten in the same way that we do with the standard one. So what we're looking for here is a nice straight line, so that once we put baby in the carrier, it doesn't tip up and come up on our shoulders. So with the toddler carrier, like we said, it goes this wide. It's really adjustable though, so we can still make the toddler carrier quite a bit smaller. So it doesn't go all the way like the baby version. It goes to here. So we can either have it, I'm going to try and show you. So it opens here, we take this little bit out and we fold it back in and tuck it in there. So in terms of the adjustability, it's not going to be as adjustable, but then your child is not going to be growing quite as much once they get older. So it goes from here to here. Okay, now with this one, it does state in the instructions from 9 months. Obviously babies all grow at different ages and different rates, so you might find that actually your baby at 9 months might be wearing aged 12-month clothing. So in terms of when you might move your toddler up, it's all about the knee-to-knee support. So is the sling still supporting the knee-to-knee when you've got a lovely tilted pelvis? And how high is the sling coming up on their back? So generally, as they get older, they might get their arms out, and then that tends to lean back. So you might find that just as your child, the sling isn't coming as high on their back, it's not supportive, and it might just be really uncomfortable for you, really. So a sling that then comes up higher can be more supportive for you, just because it does stop them leaning and it holds them a bit closer to you. And so you don't want the sling coming any lower than sort of not far under their armpits, certainly no lower than the middle of their back, because of the ability to throw themselves backwards. With the baby carrier, you get your bag and you get your cushion. With the toddler one, you have a couple of options that you can buy as extras. So this is a little clip-on pocket, which can be really helpful. You can put some snacks in here and it just clips onto the front of the carrier, or if you're travelling, this is really good for your documents, and then they're right here, right on the carrier, so when you're going through passport control, etc. And you also have an adjustable hood, and this clips on with clips. People find perhaps they might not want that, so those are added extras that you can buy on top of buying the carrier. As toddler carriers go, the Izmi tends to fit from a younger age than many of the other toddler carriers. So for example, in the library we have the Toddler, that tends to fit from about 2.5. This can fit from 9 months or potentially younger depending on the size of the baby. And it's all about gauging the height, so that's something that we look at when people come to Sling Library to try carriers on. So depending on where you're at on your carrying journey, it might depend on which one would be suitable for you. There are plenty of toddler carriers on the market these days, so if it's something that you are wanting to explore because you do carry a child and you're not finding it comfortable any longer, it might be worth looking at changing up. So come along to the Sling Library because we can help you with that. But typically when they're older, they're going to be a bit up and down. They're not going to necessarily stay in a carrier for long periods. So your needs and your toddler's needs are potentially going to be very different from the carrier that you might use when they're a newborn. So there's lots of different considerations that you might think about when you want to carry toddlers. It might just be, actually you just think it'd be really useful for going on holiday. Or if you're going to a concert, for example, if you're going to an all-day event somewhere, that's when carriers can be really useful, because it means that you've got your child with you, they're up high, so if you're in big crowded spaces, they don't get too overwhelmed because they're not looking at literally everyone's knees if they're in a buggy. If you're going somewhere that's potentially not accessible by buggy, the carrier or the sling can make that really helpful for you. So there is lots of considerations, and it might not be something that you see a lot in terms of it's common now to younger babies being carried, but maybe not older ones. But you know, I still carry Jude. He's just turned 4 in January, on the school run predominantly because we're often in a rush and he doesn't want to walk necessarily. And that's just my tool. And other people will use buggies at that sort of age. So I appreciate it's not maybe as usual as normal for everybody, but for some of us it is really normal to carry our older children and our toddlers, and there is always a solution out there. So if you have any questions about carrying or about the Izmi Toddler or the Izmi Standard carrier, then just let me know. We have Sling Library next week, St Paul's Church, Dorking. Everybody's welcome. Lots of slings available. Availability online for booking for consults. Just click the link and check and book in when suits you. Have a good weekend.